Welcome to On Research with the CITI program, the podcast that explores current issues, trends, and innovations shaping the research community. I'm your host, Alexa McMillan, and in today's episode, we're spotlighting a trailblazing organization making a powerful impact on diversity and representation in clinical research, Black Women in Clinical Research, or BWICR. Our guest, founder and CEO Danielle Mitchell, will share her personal journey, the mission and origin of BWICR, and how the organization supports, mentors, and uplifts its members. We'll also explore the barriers Black women face in clinical research and why diverse voices are essential to ethical and responsible research. Whether you're a seasoned research professional or just starting out, this conversation offers valuable insights on building equity and representation in the field. All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us, Danielle. I'm really excited to talk more to you about your organization, Black Women in Clinical Research, and your own background. So to start off with, can you please tell us a bit about yourself?
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Alexa, for having me. I am super excited to be here. I can't even tell you how many times CE program was a part of my beginning of my clinical research career. So a little bit about me. I am from Detroit, Michigan. I graduated from the Clark Atlanta University with a bachelor's degree in biology. I just knew that I was going to be a medical doctor because I had helped deliver my little sister when I was 15 years old. But when I went to college, I decided to pivot. I decided that maybe medical school is not the right decision for me. So when I graduated, there weren't a lot of career options for someone who has a bachelor's degree in biology. And I began to work in labs. I began, it was really difficult for me graduating with a bachelor's degree in biology and not going to medical school. And so I worked in different labs. And I remember when I was working in the lab, and I called it the dungeon because there was no windows, and I was doing the same thing every day, all day. During this time, I went to a pool party and I ran into a college classmate, and she told me that she was a clinical research associate. She told me that she gets to work from home. She gets to travel. She's making over six figures. And I was immediately interested because at the time I was working in a clinical genetics laboratory making, I want to say 35,000 a year. So I really began to question, like, what am I doing wrong with my life? Because I, I wasn't feeling successful at this point in my career. And when she told me about clinical research, I had never heard about clinical research. In my undergrad, we talked about research in animals, but we never talked about research in humans. So when she talked about clinical research, I really thought about my grandmother who had breast cancer, and I wanted to make a difference. And so I felt like clinical research was the perfect merge between science, medicine, all together. And that is something that I've always been passionate about. And I was like, okay, well, clinical research is the best career option for me. But it was so hard trying to land my first clinical research role. I tell people it is not for the weak. When you are trying to transition into the clinical research industry, there are a lot of challenges with getting in. I know for me, it was as if my transferable skills weren't transferable. Every clinical research role that I applied to, I was rejected. And so I started looking at myself. I said, well, what's wrong with me? Self-reflecting. Is there something wrong with my resume? What can I do to improve my chances? What can I do to just get an interview? So at that point, I decided to pivot and go on clinicaltrials.gov, find the nearest sites, and ask them, can I shadow? Can I do an internship just to gain that clinical research experience? Because so many of the roles, even though they said they were entry level, they required me to have 2 years of experience. I didn't understand it then. I still don't understand it now, but I did what I needed to do in order to gain that clinical research experience. So I cold called the clinical research site, and one of the sites, it was in Smyrna, Georgia. It was a small Black-owned clinical trial site. And I asked them, can I shadow? Can I do an internship? And they said yes. So that started the foundation that I needed in order to get started in the clinical research industry. And even after having that internship, I applied to jobs and was still rejected. So it wasn't until I went home and apply for a role as a clinical research coordinator, that I was able to start my work experience in the clinical research industry. But my journey was not easy to get in.
Mm. So tell me how that inspired you to found Black Women in Clinical Research and how this organization helps your members.
Absolutely. So when I was a clinical research coordinator, I went to an investigator meeting, and I guess I'm just thinking of this right now. Yesterday was our 6-year anniversary. So 6 years ago, I went to this investigator meeting, and there were hundreds of people in the room, and out of those hundreds of people that were in the room, there were only 2 Black women, including myself. So it really made me question whether or not there was a lack of diversity in the room or if there was a lack of diversity in the industry. So after this investigative meeting, I was so inspired that I started this Facebook group, and I wanted to connect with other people like me who may have experienced some of these same challenges. I wanted to know, is everyone having a difficult time with getting into the clinical research industry? Are there some resources that we can share that will help us get into the clinical research industry and further our career? And so from this Facebook group, just fast forwarding till today, we have over 10,000, I think there's 11 actually. Sorry, I misspoke. It's 11,000 Black women that are in this Facebook group.
Wow.
And so it has just it's amazing to say. I a lot of times I'm speechless when I think about it, because who knew from just having an idea that this could turn into a company that is helping people all over the world. We have members that are in Germany, we have members that are in Canada. A lot of times I'm amazed when someone reaches out to me and says, "I'm a member of your organization and I've never set foot in these countries, but for the power of LinkedIn has helped reach a lot of people across the world." And so when it comes to the lack of diversity in the industry, it's not just in the US, it's all over.
Mhm. So how does Black Women in Clinical Research support its members professionally and personally within the research field?
Absolutely. So we have I would say three different ways that we support Black women in clinical research. We have the Facebook group, which is a great way to connect with other people. And then we also have the LinkedIn group, which is a great way to connect with people professionally. And then we also have the app, which is the paid membership for people who want more. So we have different topics in the app. So whether you are a CRC or a CRA or a project manager, monthly we have meetings to talk to people in these roles to see, okay, how can we help you perform your job better? What type of support do you need? Because we know that the clinical research industry is very challenging, and a lot of times people are walking this journey alone. And when you are a clinical research professional, you should not be walking this journey alone, because it can be difficult. And you need someone in your corner that can talk to you as well. And so with the BWICR membership, we also have the mentorship program that we do. We have a software that matches people with other clinical research professionals. So that way it's helping you with your goals, and being able to talk to someone one on one that can help you and can give you insight and feedback on things that you can improve in order to be a well rounded clinical research professional. And so we have our Wind Down Wednesday, which we had yesterday. We had someone talking about financial literacy. So, yes, we are clinical research professionals, but we also have topics that help one another. We have a mom topic. We have, so many different things. Like if you are in a certain state or city, we have topics that are regional so that you're able to connect with other people and you have the opportunity to ask for questions. There's job postings and there's opportunity to get a referral from someone in the BWICR app. We also have for the members, if you are a gold member and purple member, I should say, you receive a discount to attend the conference. And you also receive a free resume review if you are a gold member. So we wanted just to be able to offer a lot of different resources. I wanted to be able to offer people resources that I wish I would have had when I was starting in the clinical research industry.
So you mentioned some great services, and you did mention a conference. And so I wanted to give you the chance to talk a bit about the conference that's coming up. It's in Atlanta, right?
Absolutely. Atlanta is my second home because I graduated from Clark Atlanta University. I have some deep roots in Atlanta, and I have a lot of family that live in Atlanta. So going to Atlanta is a homecoming. And what's also funny about this as well, it is actually my homecoming. Because I'm having the conference, I'm not going to be able to attend the homecoming, but it's okay. I'm still in Atlanta, and you might see me with Clark Atlanta shirt on or something during that weekend. But this is an opportunity to network and to come together and to meet different companies that are there as well. So some of our sponsors are BMS, AbbVie, and there's a lot of CROs, Par Excel. So there's a lot of different companies that are there. Aquanate is also one of our sponsors. Clinically, I don't want to leave anyone off, but I know that there's a long list of people that are sponsoring the conference that have been supportive. And we really just want to have a different type of conference because a lot of times when you go to clinical research conferences, someone's trying to sell you something that you're not going to use. And so when it comes to our members, I ask people like, what are you looking for when you go to a conference? And most people want to either hear about the roles at the company, the work-life balance, the work culture, just finding out about, job opportunities as well. So we wanted to just create this space so that people can have these conversations and have them in a comfortable setting. We have a DJ that is throughout the whole conference.
Oh, wow.
Yes, yes, music is a vibe for me, so I love music, and I love how music, the energy that happens when you have music and how it can just change your mood. So we have the DJ on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Oh, I'm even thinking about having a skating party as well, so on Thursday. So it's just really a great opportunity for all clinical research professionals to connect. Even though this is called Black Women in Clinical Research, this is open to anyone in the clinical research industry, anyone that wants to get involved in the clinical research industry. And so we just want to be able to be, I would say, that beacon of light that shows what it actually means to be inclusive and to have different voices at the seat at the table.
And tell us when that conference will be and where it will be located at.
Yes, October 24th through the 26th at the Westin Atlanta Perimeter North, I believe. It's a really nice hotel, about, let's see, 30 minutes probably from the Atlanta airport. So it's going to be a great event. Super excited about the topics and the speakers and just, I think we're 5 weeks away, if I'm correct,
Yeah.
from the conference. So we're just in the thick of it with finishing the final touches, and I would be love to for anyone to join if they can. But yeah, it's going to be a great conference.
And how would our listeners sign up for that conference if they wanted to attend?
So you can go to BWICR.com. That's the short link. But yes, if you go to BWICR.com, you can register from that website.
I hope you are enjoying this episode of On Research. If you are interested in conversations about technology ethics, join me, Daniel Smith, for CITI Program's podcast, On Tech Ethics. You can subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts. Now, back to your episode.
So let's transition to some of the other services that you offer. Specifically, you mentioned mentorship. And so I would love to hear about how mentorship factors into your mission and what does successful mentorship look like in your organization?
Yes, so mentorship is really big for me because in my undergrad, I had a mentor who poured into me. Her name is Dr. Melissa Green Parker. She was the first Black scientist that I saw. This was when I was in my undergrad and I was working at Morehouse School of Medicine, and we were in a research lab. And this was the first time that I had someone who wasn't related to me pour into me and believed in me before I believed in myself. When you are in college, you're just in a I would say, a stage of your life where you're trying to build and you're trying to grow and you're trying to figure out what you want to do with the rest of your life. But she saw something in me at that time, and she just really helped me. She helped, I like to say, she helped mold and sculpt me into who I am today. And so, because she poured into me and because she gave so freely, she would even buy me interview clothes and buy me a gas card. Like, I never had anyone that wasn't family do that for me. So that really stayed with me. That stayed with me throughout my whole life. And so when it came to Black women in clinical research, it was a no-brainer why we shouldn't have a mentorship program. So I wanted to be able to give back like my mentor gave to me, and to be able to cultivate these relationships with the BWICR members. I think is so important for your career to have a mentor, to have that sounding board, a person that you can express challenges, the good, the bad, the ugly, and for someone to give you sound advice and tell you, okay, these are some options that you should think of. And also having someone to advocate and be a sponsor. I think a lot of times we talk about mentorship, but we don't focus a lot on what it means to be a sponsor. Taking a step further from being a mentor and actually connecting people to people in your network to say, this is a person that I met, these are their skills that they possess. I think that they would be a great candidate for this role. So I wanted to be able to give back and for people to feel empowered in their career and to know that there's someone rooting for them. Like I said, that's not family. And a lot of these relationships that people have created from the mentorship program, it's still ongoing. I am still connected to my mentor from college, and I would be telling my age, but it's 20 years since I graduated from college this year. So just to have her in my corner, and she still shows up for me to this day. She lives in Washington, D.C., and so if I go to Washington, D.C., and she knows that I'm there, she will pick me up, we will go out to eat. We're still having conversations, and the mentorship relationship now has evolved because now I am in return helping her. And so I think that that's the beauty of having a mentor and having someone pour into you, because I want to be able to pour into her like she poured into me, and to let her know like how much I care about the relationship that we were able to build and how she helped my career. So I'm forever grateful for her, and I want our members to have that same type of relationship where they have someone that is always going to be there and rooting for them. And I guess to me, that's what successful mentorship looks like, making those strong connections and a mentorship relationship that helps you throughout your whole life. And it's perfectly okay to have different mentors as well. You can have a mentor for different things that you're trying to do in your career, whether you're trying to get a promotion or you have a mentor that really knows like the ins and outs of HR. And if you're have a situation where you have a difficult manager. So it's okay to have different mentors in your life that can help you.
Yeah. So I love hearing your personal story with mentorship. Do you have any other stories that you'd be willing to share about how Black women in clinical research has helped women in their careers?
Absolutely. Alexa, there are so many stories, but I'm going to tell you about a story about one of our members who was a military veteran, and she was looking to transition into the clinical research industry. I remember I went to a conference maybe a few years ago, and I met her, and immediately I liked her, like her personality. I was like, okay, oh my goodness. Like, I'm like, you're amazing. When I met her, and when she was talking to me, she embodied a CRA. So at the time, I told her, I said, I see you as a CRA. And I had to ask her, I said, are you sure you're not a CRA? I said, because I said, you really, I said, the way that you're talking, I said, you sound like a CRA. And she was like, no. And I was like, okay. And I even told her the company, I said, I feel like with your military background, I told her, I said, PPD Thermo Fisher, they have a military program. I told her, I was like, that is what you should aim for, using your military background to transition into that company. And I want to say 2 weeks later, she had an interview with PPD Thermo Fisher, and she landed that role. And I was just amazed with how you have this conversation with a person, you speak life into them, and now to actually see the fruit of that, to see on the other side that she actually landed her role and she was able to go from the military into a civilian role just because I helped her. And so that to me, that is an indescribable feeling, just to know that I'm helping to change people's lives like this. And I couldn't be more grateful for the opportunity to be this person in people's lives to make a difference.
Yeah, that's wonderful. I love to hear that.
Thank you.
So you shared some great examples of the impact of Black women in clinical research, but I'd love to turn to the broader landscape of representation in clinical research. And so, can you speak a bit about some of the key barriers that Black women face in clinical research and how your company is working to overcome them?
Absolutely. So there are a lot of barriers right now. A lot of our members have been laid off. I know that a lot of people have seen the report when they said 300,000 Black women have left the workforce.
Wow.
And a lot of our members have been affected by these layoffs. So we are creating a space where we can have conversations and we can help our members who are experiencing these layoffs, with the conference, our members who have been laid off, we're offering a reduced price for them to attend because I don't want anyone that's a member to feel like they can't come to the conference because of their financial situation. So that is something that we want to offer. And also with our college students as well, being able to attend the conference. And if you're a college student, a lot of people know your funds and your coins, you have to count every penny and nickel and dime. So we wanted to also offer this to the college students to attend the conference. And so we just are, I would say, supportive. We just want to make sure that our members feel comfortable with sharing what they are going through. And we've just had this platform to where people can do that, where they can tell us what's going on. And if we have the ability to help and to connect them with someone that can help them, that is what we are doing. So we have created this safe space for our members and letting them know that whatever they may be going through, that they're not the only one and that there are a group of people who want to see them win. So how can we support you?
Yeah. Can you speak a bit about why it's important to have diverse voices involved in study design and recruitment and clinical research as a whole?
It is important to have diverse voices involved in study design, recruitment, and data analysis because we need diverse perspectives. And within clinical research, we know that historically that clinical trials are conducted on white males. So if we have a Black community, a Latino community, an Asian community, we know that these drugs are not safe and effective for those communities. And this could be a life and death situation. I know specifically when I'm thinking about my own family, my father was prescribed a drug that caused an allergic reaction. And his doctor had prescribed it for him because he had high blood pressure. And he ended up in the hospital. His lips swelled up, his throat swelled up. And when I remember going to the hospital and just seeing my father, and just talking to him and telling him, I use it as a teachable moment. I do this with my family. I'm pretty sure that they don't like it when I do this. But I told him, I said, that's why it's important for Black people to participate in clinical trials. I was like, because this reaction that you had, this could have been life or death. And not only did his doctor prescribe this medication to him, he prescribed it twice to him.
Wow.
And so he ended up in the hospital twice. And so I always tell my dad, and after this conversation, because I use this as a teachable moment, he looks up any of the drugs now that his doctor prescribes to him because he remembered that experience. And that's why it's so important to have people that can speak about that and who know about people maybe in their communities that had any type of adverse reactions, and just to make sure that the voices of the people in that community are involved in the study design. And so it's so important to be connected, and it's so important for people like Black women in clinical research to be involved in their community so that we can make sure that we are putting the patient's voice first.
Mhm. Yeah, absolutely. So we talked a bit about the current challenges and the opportunities. And so to wrap up, I'd love to look at the future of what Black women in clinical research is doing and what's next for your organization.
Absolutely. There have been several challenges, but with our initiatives and our goals, we want to continue doing what we are doing at a larger scale. So we've been connected with a lot of colleges and universities. So really taking that to the next level. I know for me, just thinking about the young Danielle, I wish I had someone show up on my campus to talk about clinical research. I have been in conversation with a lot of the HBCUs to see what can we do? How can we help the students learn about clinical research? Because especially at my university, the focus was going to medical school. And so I didn't really have a lot of options about other careers because I didn't have anyone there that was showing up and say, this could be a career option for you. So our initiatives, I would say, really have to do with education and awareness. So educating the younger generation, bringing awareness to our community about clinical research and the benefits of clinical research. And I know that there are going to be challenges. There's always challenges when you are trying to create a path that hasn't been created before. And so I'm just very hopeful, with having these challenges that the people that have supported BWICR will continue to support us and that we can make more shifts in the industry. I know that people have said that we have made some shifts, but I want to make some bigger shifts. And I want people to really know about clinical research and whatever we can do to help this, especially with having this platform.
Yeah, okay. And finally, what advice would you give to someone just starting out in clinical research who may not yet see themselves represented?
I would say don't get discouraged. I would also say to use your network, start connecting with people. It is never too early to start networking. A lot of times I meet people in high school and I ask them, do you have a LinkedIn? So starting early to network, getting comfortable with networking because sometimes networking can be uncomfortable. But if you are doing what you need to do, creating a LinkedIn profile, having a headshot, different things before you even become a clinical research professional, making yourself a well-rounded clinical research professional by connecting to as many people as you know. Because a lot of times it is not about what you know, it is about who you know. So being able to connect with people in the industry, connect with as many clinical research professionals as possible, to connect with clinical research professionals that hold the position that you're interested in. So whether it's a CRC, CRA, project manager, surround yourself around those clinical research professionals as well. And if you don't feel represented, make sure that you are connecting with people who look like you. And I feel like it's so important to have that space and to be connected with people who look like you. And so don't give up. And that's my main thing. Don't give up. Don't get discouraged. It's okay to take time away. I tell people this too when they're applying for roles, but hang in there, find your tribe, connect with Black women in clinical research, come to our conference, shameless plug. But, it's really about finding people who share those same values and passion.
That's wonderful. And finally, before I let you go, let our listeners know again how they can learn more about Black women in clinical research.
Yes, so we are pretty much on all the social media channels. So whether you are on LinkedIn, you can type in Black Women in Clinical Research, Facebook as well, TikTok. I'm not doing any dancing, but we are on all the social media channels. You can go to our website, bwicr.com. If you are interested in collaborating or partnering with us, that is an option as well because we always need support. So if you are supportive of our mission, we would love to have that conversation as well. So feel free to connect with us on all of the social media channels. On our TikTok and Instagram, it's BWICR20. So yeah, that's how you can connect with us.
Wonderful. And I will put links to your pages and your website down below in the notes so that our listeners can easily access that as well. Danielle, thank you so much. It's been a joy talking to you, and I think it's a wonderful mission, and hopefully we can let more people know about it.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Alexa.
That wraps up today's episode of On Research with CITI program. A huge thank you to Danielle Mitchell for sharing her experiences and the inspiring work of Black women in clinical research. If you'd like to learn more about Black women in clinical research, their mentorship opportunities, or their upcoming initiatives, be sure to visit BWICR.com. CITI program offers self-paced courses in research compliance, including on animal and human subjects research, responsible conduct of research, and research security. You will also find role-based training for clinical research coordinators, principal investigators, and clinical research associates. Enhance your skills, deepen your expertise, and lead with integrity across research settings. If you're not currently affiliated with a subscribing organization, you can sign up as an independent learner and access CITI program's full course catalog. Check out the link in this episode's description to learn more. As a reminder, I want to quickly note that this podcast is for educational purposes only. It is not designed to provide legal advice or legal guidance. You should consult with your organization's attorneys if you have questions or concerns about the relevant laws and regulations that may be discussed in this podcast. In addition, the views expressed in this podcast are solely those of our guests. Cynthia Bellis is our guest experience producer, and Evelyn Fornell is our line producer. Production and distribution support provided by Raymond Longaray and Megan Stewart. Thanks for listening.